Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's April 2nd, 2021. It's freezing outside and I don't feel like doing too much out there, so I thought I'd catch up and try and create a couple of videos today. One of the things I've been working on recently is working on separating a lot of the different stooled or mounded layer perennial plants. Previously I had dug up a lot of the raspberry plants and separated those out for sales, and recently I've been going through the gooseberries. Then I've got to start doing lots of pruning and start some hardwood cuttings here in the spring too as well. So as I mentioned before, one of our goals is to really reduce the amount of crops that we're planting this year for consumption over the next couple of years. So I thought what I'd do today is shoot some footage of the sweet potatoes, how they're coming, and some of the seeds that we started over in the seedlings that we started over in the work area as well. Now, as I just mentioned, our goal this year is to reduce the amount of vegetative plants that we're growing for consuming throughout the summer, and that we process at the end of the year. This is Thea's last year for working, so we really don't want to overdo it with doing all the harvesting and all the processing in the fall. We can kick up the amount of produce that we're producing next year, but this year, since we're going to be producing less, we'll do more get more perennial plants started in the extra beds as well. So today, the first thing we'll do is we'll go downstairs in the den, which is going to be modified in the future. I talked about really expanding our kitchen, but we still have our microgreens and our sweet potato starts. The sweet potato starts we've got in two different flat trays that are in a soilless mixture, as I've described in the past before. And those sweet potatoes, we started the sweet potatoes 8 weeks ago. So this is April 2nd. So we started those in February. That looks like the vines that are coming off so far are about 3 foot long. My goal was to get 6 or 8 foot long ones, and I think I'll do better than that as well. And I may make another update on the sweet potatoes before we get them in the ground, when I try to lengthen some of those sweet potatoes. Now in the past, I've always taken cuttings or peeled off the sweet potato slips as the shoots as they're coming off the sweet potato, and then put them into a perlite mixture and start those. And I have a whole sweet potato playlist that you can go back to and watch. I'm always trying to tweak things so I have to spend less time working on the sweet potatoes. So we'll see how that works out. Then we're going to walk over to the work area, which is attached to the greenhouse and the coop, and we'll take a look at the seedlings that we started 3 weeks ago. So the temperature in the coop right now is 49 degrees Fahrenheit. We did have some nice warm days where it got up over 50 degrees. This is a super insulated building, and there's videos that I've made in the past about building the chicken coop work area and the greenhouse. And this is attached to the greenhouse, but the greenhouse isn't covered yet. It isn't enclosed. So that isn't generating any extra heat. So the heat that's inside of the work area is a result of the insulated concrete forms forming an insulated thermal mass unit underneath the concrete floor. So that maintains a pretty good temperature. There aren't very many windows. Actually, the biggest window are the French doors that you'll be able to see in this video. And that's about it. Let's go take a look at the sweet potatoes and go over to the work area and see how the seedlings are doing. Okay, so these are the sweet potatoes that we've started in the soilless mixture. It's down here in our den, which someday will be our new kitchen. These sweet potatoes were put in soil 8 weeks ago in February. Today is April 2nd. And this is going to be a little bit different than previous years using the sweet potatoes. I'm going to let them grow out into quite long vines. So here we've got some vines that are, well, at least one is at least 3, a couple of them are at least 3 foot, a couple of them are 2 foot. So I'll show you the plan that I have in next month, probably, when I actually start to lay these sweet potatoes out. And this technique I'm going to try and use is not to take segments and start rooting slips. This is going to be similar to what I did last year, is rooting the vines, but I plan on making these vines quite long and more robust, and see just how that will work. A couple of the little small blueberry segments that broke off when I was uncovering the beds, I stuck in here next to the sweet potatoes. We'll see if they get any roots on them. A nice little trial. So we'll go over to the work area now and see what our seedlings look like. Oh, we can actually come up here. Here we are. This is 3 days old, the broccoli microgreens. So these are the Calabrese broccoli seeds that have germinated, and I just uncovered them this morning. And these ones here are the broccoli seeds that I started this morning in these seed flats that are only, the soilless mixture is only about a half an inch deep at the deepest. So it is pretty interesting. And the background noise is one of my aquariums there. Sorry for all the noise. Oops. I'm trying to get used to using this DJI Osmo camera. So what we're going to do, we're going to head over to the work area and take a look at the seedlings that we started here 3 weeks ago. So the snow is melting pretty quickly here, which is quite nice. It's supposed to get up to 30 today. I don't think it's going to get up to freezing, but it's about 28 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I have been working out here with some of the perennials, gooseberries and all, and I'll try and make an update on this, on what's going on with this marginal bed. Let's see what's going on. So the first thing you can see, only one side we're using this season. Usually this whole row of light stands are completely loaded with seeds being started. Now this is an area that's just super insulated, and it has very minimal light exposure, but that's the greenhouse out there. And hopefully I'll be able to get the roof on that this year. There's a possibility. So these are the seeds we started 3 weeks ago. So up here we have some of our banana peppers, and they're just barely starting to come up. There is a heat mat underneath this. We'll check the temperature and see what it is. There's a heat mat underneath this one, and the moisture content is okay. Here we have some of our San Marzano tomatoes. We do love our tomatoes. Here's more of the San Marzano tomatoes over here. For the cool temperature that's in here, the thermal mass within this unit has no circulation. This is just, unlike the greenhouse and the house, there's no circulation for this area. And here's some of our broccoli seed. They did shoot up pretty quickly. What do we have down here? Oh, this is the curly kale, and we're just starting to see some of the seeds pop up from there. Now that's I think 6-year-old seed, so we'll see. More of the broccoli right here. Oops, I just banged my camera here. Some of the red onions starting to pop. You can see they always start off in a folded position. And then they work their way up. Down here these are only 2 weeks old. These are some of the lettuce in here, and a few spinach just starting to show up over here. Usually I direct seed those. There's 2 more trays here of the red onions. Red onions here, and here we have a little bit of rosemary starting up down in there. Very small. I do have a challenge getting the rosemary started each time. Down here we have the cauliflower started. And this will just be, we'll get these into the ground early in the season. More of the cauliflower. A few more of the cauliflower here. Some more of the red onions. See how they all start off as being folded. And then they straighten out. So it looks like we're almost up to 50 degrees. Looks like about 49 degrees. Whoops. 49 degrees here. So, not optimal temperatures for starting the seedlings indoors. We'd like it warmer, but we can be patient because we got quite some time before we can get most of these plants in the ground. The tomatoes will pot those up. The peppers will pot those up as well. And so we have just 2 heat mats, one for the San Marzano tomatoes that we started here, and the same thing for the banana peppers right here. We have a heat mat here. They don't seem to be throwing out that much heat, but so that's what we got. It's going to be, our garden beds are going to be not quite as jam-packed with all of the vegetables that we usually have. Going to be really reduced this year. I did go ahead and rewire so that I could have all 8 of our Excalibur dehydrators over here. I should have turned on the light so you could see. But I do have the 8 Excalibur dehydrators right here and 2 different 20 amp breakers. So we can dehydrate all at once on the one shelf here. Okay, we're back from checking out the work area and the sweet potatoes. So far, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. The rosemary could be getting a little bit better. I can see the very beginning of, and I should have mentioned this when I was shooting the footage, but you can see I tweaked up the LED light on one side where the rosemary plants are started. And as a result, when you have too much moisture or too much light that's prolonged for a prolonged period of time, you can get growth algae starting on the surface of the soilless mixture. So I did tilt that light up some, and maybe that was a mistake, maybe it wasn't. But we don't have a high germination rate on the rosemary yet. The curly cal, I don't see much germination. Now, I think that those seeds I collected 8 years ago. And we always had great luck with them. Now, the seeds that I took these, that we started these seedlings from, were not in a completely cleaned seed jar. So I had these in quart jars, and I had to rescreen it because I never got rid of all of the small debris. And that small debris can hold some moisture, so it might have shortened the longevity of the seeds while they were in storage. They were in the root cellar, they were with desiccants inside of a sealed quart jar, and they're in the cold, dark environment. So we got good 7 years out of those seeds. We'll see if they still do germinate. Usually they germinate pretty well when it's pretty cool like this. So it's been in the 40 degrees for the most part. It has gotten just above 50 degrees Fahrenheit over in there over the last 3 weeks. Right now it's 28 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I just checked, and the wind is just moderate. So that's where we are so far with our seedlings. This is started over there 3 weeks at this point, and 8 weeks on our sweet potatoes inside. And so that's where we're at. So if you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Be sure to leave any comments or suggestions or experiences you've had as well, and how your seed starting or prep for your garden is coming. I'm super excited, when we get these longer daylight, I just get excited about getting outside and spending more time out there. Too bad it's cold today. Take care, folks, and have a good day. Bye-bye now.